Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Convos with Diderios. I appreciate you all for being here today. And the topic we're going to be talking about today is called self-love. So, what is self-love? I am not going to answer that. That's for Ryan. That is not my forte. I'm here to learn just like all of you. I'm here to learn from Ryan and from the guest as well. So, but what I do feel like is that this is definitely an important topic that we should talk about, because often a lot of us don't know what it means and how loving ourselves can help us live a better life. Also, what better time to talk about self-love than the month of love? So I'm excited. I am so excited about this show. But the truth is, today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. Normally, I bring my guest on and we start. But today, I want my guests to participate with me, and the individuals who engage the most, like always, are going to win an awesome gift at the end of the show, and Ryan gets to pick the winners. So please, Ryan, while we're on this show. All right. But before I bring Ryan on, guys, I am going to need 2 to 3 volunteers from my audience to come on and mention what self-love means to them. So who would love to come on this live show to talk about self-love with me? I just want to know. We're going to spend about 2 to 3 minutes with each person. And I do see a request here. I have one request. This is Mary Jane. Perfect. Hi, Mary Jane.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
You always come true. You're a real one. You're a real one. Thank you so much. So, Mary Jane, what I wanted to talk about with you is people have different interpretation of what self-love is. And can you please tell me, how do you define self-love?
I think for me, it's just making sure that I give myself as much attention as I give to others.
Okay.
Because I realize that sometimes, so people are different, right? Some people have this energy that they just have this very calming energy, and they're able to just take away problems. Or when you're with them, you're just at peace, right?
Right.
And I noticed that people like that tend to sometimes overlook their own needs, right? So it's like, as much as you're paying attention to the people around you, that the energy that you put into helping people around you, so just put that energy in yourself. So
how do you show yourself self-love?
Oh, for me, I buy myself stuff.
You buy yourself stuff.
Yeah, and just sometimes just take a break, go somewhere, travel. I love traveling, so I do that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mary Jane, for telling us what self-love means to you. And what's going to happen is Ryan is going to come on. Hi, Moya. How are you?
I didn't know this how it works. What's up?
How's it going? Thank you for coming on live with me.
Yeah, what's up now?
I appreciate it. Thank you. So, Moya, tell me, how do you define self-love? What does it mean to you?
I wrote it down. So
you wrote it down?
Because I had to write it down. But anyways, like the previous person, what's her name?
Mary Jane.
Yeah, she just said taking care of yourself. I think it's probably the same thing I wrote too. Like taking care of yourself, like you would, a lot of us want to be taken care of. We want people to take care of us in a certain way, either parents, relationship, whatever stuff we find ourselves in. We want them, okay, I want you to take care of me this way. So I feel like, me personally, I feel like self-love is that act of actually loving yourself the way you want someone to love you, or you want someone to care for you. So if you can treat yourself the way you expect from someone, say, okay, like, I don't know how to explain it. So I would say you want a certain kind of guidance or counseling from your parents,
Right.
So you give yourself that counseling. You say, for example, you did something, your mom said, "Oh, don't do it." Yeah, I'm just using like a young child, for example, so it's much more easy for people to understand that. And your mom said, "Oh, don't do it." After they scold you, your parents tend to forgive you, and you move on. So it's the same thing now being an adult. That's the same thing too. When you mess up, have the compassion for yourself, rather than beating yourself over like, man, I messed up. So
Right.
for me, that self-love is like being able to show self-compassion, show self-forgiveness when you really mess up. Learning to take your ego out of the equation. Like, oh man, I messed up. Instead of being cocky about it, then you come like, okay, man, I fucked up. So, and you forgive yourself, and you don't brew, you don't sit on it, and you just
Right.
move on. So that's it.
Oh,
That's
thank you,
it.
Moyo.
Yeah.
Thank you, Moyo. So how do you show yourself self-love?
How do I show myself?
Yeah.
Me, I like cooking for one. I notice cooking makes me like brings me back alive. So when I cook, I feel alive. So that's why like most of the time I cook. Like I cook food to be fun, not cook. I don't cook to eat. I also cook for the delight of the art behind cooking. So when I cook, even though it's Nigerian food, any kind of food, I make sure before I eat it, when I see it, I'm like, man, that actually looks good. I just don't want to cook a bar and just make it and just like, okay, I'm about to eat. No, like,
Yeah.
I cook like that sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. I cook like that sometimes, but most times I cook whereby I cook. So when I eat today, I'm looking forward to eat the same food tomorrow. Like meal prepping. People meal prep, and sometimes like 3 days or 2 days to your meal prep. Like, man, I need to eat outside. But the way I personally cook, I make sure when I cook, I want to like go back. I'm like, man, that food really tastes good. And sometimes, I give my friends like, oh, have some, try it. Let me know. And if I'm like, man, that food really looks good and tastes good, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm doing something right.
That makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Look at this. All the girls are like hitting on you. Every
Oh,
girl wants a man that
I'm not
cooks.
even paying attention today. Hi, everybody. Yes, so let me tell them what. Let me tell them I'm available.
And you're available? Okay.
Yeah, so I just let them know, Well, yeah, so
I'll add you to my matchmaking. We're gonna be matchmaking you with some.
so one thing I wanted to actually present when you told me to come on here is the difference between self-love and self-indulgence. A lot of people really can't differentiate that. I personally noticed that a lot of people, I couldn't differentiate it at first, but over time I started to realize the difference between self-love and self-indulgence. Like the person before me said, self-love, getting to buy something for yourself, getting to do what you want. And then there's a fine line between that you might not tell, if you can't tell if you're not conscious about what you're doing. And then you become self-indulgent. You start indulging in activities whereby something that's just supposed to bring you a little relief, not use it as an escape. So there's two different things, relief and escape. But anyways, I think, is it not 3 minutes yet?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So I just wanted to drop that,
but you did amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so
You did
just check it out.
amazing.
Yeah,
You did. I'm gonna have a session in a few. Would you be interested in coming in another week? Would you be interested in coming back? We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, this is my first time. It actually felt good, So thank you for putting me out there.
You're welcome. Thank you for agreeing.
Someone new courage.
Yes.
To come next time.
And after this last person, we're gonna bring Ryan on.
Hey Debbie, what's up?
Hi Tony, how are you?
I'm good. How are you now?
I'm okay. Thank you for coming on. I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know, right? I know.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So Tony, what does self-love means to you?
For me, self-love, it means loving yourself before loving others. And self-love involves just you being able to take care of yourself before actually having the courage or being able to take care of others. I mean,
Right.
You could see in so many people's relationship, they focus on others before focusing on themselves.
Right.
So if you don't focus on yourself, you can't love others. So for me, self-love is loving yourself before loving others. And also self-love to me is, I'll just give you an example. An example is one of my buddies told me, like, look, if somebody calls him a different name, like, oh, is this, is that, if that doesn't match with what he sees himself, he doesn't care about it.
Right.
So loving yourself is more about, if anybody says anything about you, anybody says anything that you yourself don't feel like that's you. If you love yourself more, love yourself so deeply, you would not think about what other people are saying. You'll be like, that is not me, that's their opinion, and I don't care. So that's what self-love means to me.
So basically, not letting other people's words affect you, loving yourself in such a way that you're confident in who you are.
In who you are, exactly.
Yes. And how do you show yourself self-love, Tony?
Good question. Self-love. Well, for me, I do what I want to do in terms of me just being in my own lane, quote unquote. I love my privacy. I love just me being able to relax, watch TV, or just get my mind right. So the way I show myself just care is doing things in line with what I want to do at that present moment. So if that present moment says, okay, oh, I feel like playing video games, yeah, I'll play video games. I feel like doing this, that's just me. I show myself self-love. So yeah, that's just
absolutely. Thank you so much, Tony, for sharing your opinion with us. I would advise, for everyone who shared their opinion, I would advise you guys to please wait on and listen to what Ryan has to say. He's a life coach. He does this he's really good. And I think we're all going to learn something new. So I'm looking forward to having Ryan on here. So stay on. Don't leave, Tony. Don't leave Moyo. Don't leave Mary Jane. And you guys interact with us, okay? Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you.
No problem.
So now we're going to bring Ryan back on. This is our special guest, and I cannot wait for us to have this session. For everybody else who talked about what self-love meant to them, thank you so much. So now we're going to go ahead and start. Let me bring Ryan on here. Oh, I have a few more requests. I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't see that. I'm so sorry. But we have to start the show. Oh, Ryan. Hear the accent, guys. I'm going to premiere. Yes, such a fantastic accent. Okay, Ryan, go ahead and... Hi, Ryan. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. So thank you for having me back.
Oh, my God. Just kidding. You're so welcome.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So, Ryan, a lot of people don't know. Some people might not know who you are. Others do know who you are. Do you mind introducing yourself, please?
Yeah, no, that's fine. So, yeah, obviously, you've been saying my name this whole time, so they already know that. But I'm a life coach, NLP practitioner, author, whatever, that's the titles I go by. But essentially, I'm somebody who has been through a journey of pain and learned how to deal with that, and now tell other people how to deal with that. That's who I am.
Yes, that's who he is. He's a life coach. So if you're going through anything, Ryan is a great guy for you guys to DM, go onto his website and try to book a session with him. He's a life coach, neuro-linguistic practitioner as well. So all those things.
I like the fact that you elongated the
introduction.
Yeah. I like that.
Yes. And he's also an author. He has a book called How to Get Over a Breakup. So go ahead and you guys check that out. But Ryan, as you can see, our three guests from the audience, they had different interpretation of what self-love is. Did you get to listen to that?
Yeah, no, I did.
Awesome.
And I think they make very good points. I think they're very intelligent individuals. And to be fair, quite a lot of what my interpretation of it will pretty much echo theirs. And I think when you're talking about self-love, it's kind of looking at it from a place of understanding exactly what that really is, right? So it's understanding what that looks like. And self-love can sometimes look like you being selfish, and you have to be okay with that because you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Yeah. So loads of us like to be healers and we like to give and serve other people, so on and so forth. But actually, if you keep doing that and you don't take back for yourself or take time for yourself, then you will no longer be able to give. So sometimes you might actually have to say no. And that's what self-love looks like. Sometimes saying, no, 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 I can't do that for you because I'm taking time for me. That's what self-love looks like. It isn't always pretty. It's not always good looking. Self-love is coming across sometimes as the person who has standards. And for some people, they don't like that. Do you get what I'm saying? They don't like you to have standards for yourself. So as an example, if I was to tell you right now to breathe out and not breathe in, there's only so much breathing out that you can do.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? At some point, you're going to have to breathe in. You're going to have to take back. And that's exactly what it is. If you carry on just giving and giving and giving, then eventually, what would happen if you don't breathe in? You will die.
I will die. Yeah.
You will die.
Yes.
So self-love sometimes is selfishness. It's saying, no, I can't give anymore. I have to put myself first. Right? And a lot of the time, that doesn't look like you being a nice person. Sometimes it's you saying, no, I'm taking time for me. So I can't help you paint your house. I can't help you, you know, bring the shopping. I can't do that because actually I've said today is the day. Today is the day and it's a time for me. So I need to keep that. It needs to be sacred. Do you get what I'm saying? So self-love a lot of the time looks like selfishness because like my sister will say, you can't pour from an empty cup. Right? So you have to make sure that your cup, or your jug or whatever it is full. So, you know, a load of the people that you had on earlier, they explain that in their own way. I'm just kind of putting it in a more analogy of a picture so you can actually see what that looks like. But there are many different flavors of self-love. And I feel that self-love a lot of the time is you simply saying, do you know what, as much as, because I can't remember what his name was, but the guy before was saying something about kind of like self-love being doing things that make you happy. And 100% that's very right. But it's also putting yourself around people that actually make you feel good. Don't have yourself around certain people that bring your energy and your frequency down. That also is self-love. Self-love sometimes looks like cutting off the friends that you've known for 20 something years, but having the presence of mind to say these people are not good for me, right? Sometimes self-love is saying, do you know what, these are my family members, but these family members are putting me down every single time I tell them about my dreams. These family members are telling me that, no, you can't be a scientist. No, you can't be this or that. Self-love sometimes is taking yourself out of those situations and putting yourself around the better energy. The self-love a lot of the time isn't an easy road. And this is what I think a lot of people kind of think it is, right? Well, self-love is kind of like you sitting down, meditating. Yeah, that is part of it. But self-love sometimes is actually doing the hard work, right? Doing the work that loads of us want to run away from. Self-love isn't just making yourself feel good. Self-love is looking in the mirror and saying, do you know what? You are not as good as what you think you are at this. And you need to improve. Self-love is looking in the mirror and seeing what your toxic traits are and saying, this is the work I need to do on it. Self-love is looking at yourself and saying, do you know what? Why do you do that instead of doing it that way? When when you know that self-love is saying to you, it's calling yourself on your own bullshit. Self-love is saying, do you know what? You said you was going to go to bed early and you didn't. You need to change that. Self-love isn't always this nice, you know, this nice journey where you're kind of like, yeah, man, do you know, you're as good as, you're amazing as you are. And this is a narrative that I hear quite a lot in the self-love industry, right? Which is kind of like where we tell people, yeah, man, you're perfect the way you are. And as much as that sounds nice, that's not the truth for a lot of people. If you look at the anatomy of that sentence, you're perfect the way you are. So why do you need to improve?
No
if
reason.
You're perfect the way you are, you don't need to improve. So actually, that's an inaccurate or incomplete statement. You're not perfect the way you are. Let's be real. There's certain things you still need to learn, and there's certain things that you're going to need to change. And loads of people are actually opposed to change. And this is one thing I want to point out as well. You get into a relationship. Loads of people are like, oh no, he's trying to change me, or she's trying to change me. What's wrong with change if that person is coming from a pure place? This change, if I looked in the mirror and I was just like, I don't need to change nothing. Like, I'm good how I am. Okay. That means I might stay in my toxic place, right? What if I'm a terrible person and I'm listening to this narrative that, oh, you're perfect the way you are? But hold on. The truth is, I ain't. And no one is. Do you know what I'm saying? So I actually need to change. So self-love is at first about honesty. It's first about honesty. Because this is the thing, you know, some people might get mixed up with loads of, okay, let me try and articulate this as I'm formulating it. For some people, self-love isn't actually the true self-love. It's the distraction from having to change. You rationalize that by calling it self-love. As an example, you know that you might need to change certain things about yourself. You know that you still got growth that you need to do. But instead of doing that, because that's the hard road, you say, well, I'm just going to love me for me, because I'm perfect the way I am. And then you call that self-love. That isn't. That's self-lies. Because what you're doing is you're using the title of self-love to override the fact that you need to change. You need to go along that hard road. You need to go on the journey of progression and change and transformation. Now, for most people, as an example, when you're in the gym, right? Yeah, that's self-love, right?
Yes.
But it hurts.
It does.
Yeah? Self-love isn't always easy.
No.
Yeah. So when you're looking at being in the gym, you're destroying your muscles so they build back stronger. You're paying to torture yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you wanna transform. So you're completely okay to go through this hard process. This process is not easy. You're okay to go through this hard process, right? To get to being the person that you want to be. Now, most of us on a physical level can see that working out is an image of self-love. But when it comes to mentally and psychologically, we don't see it that way, right? There is an aspect of it, as much as meditation, buying yourself something and treating yourself well and making yourself look good, and all of these things are self-love as well. But you cannot ignore the hard bit of it, the uncomfortable bit, the bit that isn't nice. And we have to tell the difference between self-love and self-lies. And they're very close. And the only difference really is the motivation behind the two. One, as in the real self-love, is honesty, as in I'm willing to do whatever is necessary to put myself as this priority. I need that, right? And then the other one is sometimes it's just simply a distraction, so you don't actually have to go through the hard things that also equate to self-love. So yeah, but shout out to the people who were on here before. I think their ideas 100% are right, and I echo that. I agree. But yeah, I think there's, you know, you also have to look at the darker side of self-love,
yes,
which they didn't necessarily touch on. So that's my input.
So that was really nice. I think, can I say something about myself personally? There was a day I was asking myself, which you just brought up. I was asking myself this question. I was like, if you really loved yourself, you would sleep early like you said you wanted to. You would try as much as possible to reach the goals and do the things that will help you be better. And normally I would be like, oh, I love who I am, I love this. But then when you look deeper, you start to question, like, am I disciplined enough to really truly be who I want to be and to truly love myself? Like, for me, the struggle that I struggle in terms of self-love is the discipline aspect. Discipline aspect. Yeah.
So speaking about discipline, look, loads of people have a subconscious fear of who they may actually be if they discipline themselves, right? Because you don't know what that person is like. You don't know who that is. What if you really achieved what you're saying that you want to achieve? Who is that person? You have no idea. You've never interacted with that you don't know. So loads of people subconsciously shoot themselves in the foot, and that manifests as a form of lack of discipline. But when you actually get over the fear of who you're going to be, you get over the fear of, you know, what if, right? That discipline comes naturally. Sometimes the lack of discipline is a defense mechanism that keeps you away from the fear of unknowing, the fear of what you don't know. And that's what we misunderstand. A lot of the time, it's not that we have a discipline problem. Do you get what I'm saying? Is that we're actually scared of who that person is on a subconscious level, not consciously. Consciously, of course, we want to be the greatest that we can be. But subconsciously, we have a fear. As an example, if you've grown up in a household where your parents have not been facilitating of your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, or they've tried to push you into a certain road, road of a career or a certain professional journey, then at some point, what happens is you learn that to function and stay alive, essentially, in a family dynamic, you need to conform to someone else's viewpoint of what you should be. You've never experienced being your true, authentic self, at least when it comes to the dreams that you want to achieve, right? So subconsciously, what you learn is, I cannot be the person that I say I want to be. Otherwise, I fall outside of the criteria I need to meet to receive love from my parents. You learn this as a kid. Bear in mind, from 0 to 7 is when you're most impressionable. So this is way before you're even ready to embark upon a journey of professionalism. So as you get older now, you say, well, do you know what? I want to be a rocket scientist, right? Consciously, you say that, but your subconscious mind says, yeah, but listen, we ain't used to, who is that person? We know that safety is actually not being that person. We know that safety is us shutting that away so we can remain safe in this place where we receive love and we actually function. Naturally, that's what we believe, right? So when you get to this place of saying, oh man, I've got a lack of discipline, that's just your brain's way of making sure that you actually don't achieve the thing that you say you're going to achieve. Because achieving that thing, your brain now recognizes as a danger, because it makes you fall outside of what you've known was normal.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, guys, if you guys have questions, please put the questions in the question box below. We will be taking them at the end of at the end of the show. And I hope you guys are learning from Ryan, because I am. Well, Ryan, so I wanted to ask you, how can people better love themselves?
I think the first thing that people can do with loving themselves is to be honest with themselves. If you have a problem, let's take, if you're an alcoholic for an example, yeah, you will never ever get better from that problem until you admit that you're an alcoholic. Otherwise, you don't have a problem that you actually need to change. So the first step isn't stop drinking. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
The first step is looking yourself in the mirror, saying, I don't like who I am an alcoholic. That's the first step. So with self-love, it's the same thing. We all, none of us are perfect, right? But to identify exactly what it is that we need to change in the sense of self-love, we need to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, do you know what? You've said 5 times this week that you was going to go to bed early. You haven't done it. Why are you doing that? What are you scared of? Now, what are you actually scared of? Now, why are you doing that? There is a reason, and this is what most people don't get. So when I'm working with clients, one of the questions that we use is, if the thing that you're running away from, or the thing that you don't like about yourself, was a friend, what benefit would that friend bring to you? So then you really start saying, okay, wait, hold on. I'm going to bed late, right? I keep saying I want to go to bed early, but I keep going to bed late. If going to bed late was a friend, what benefit does it give me? Now, for most people, it's a very, very hard question, right? Because you think to yourself, well, no, it's bad. So obviously it's not a friend because it doesn't give me a benefit. But maybe it does give you a benefit. Because maybe you're scared again, like of being who you should be. Maybe you're scared of, what if I actually put the work into this dream or to this goal that I've said? What if I actually put the work in and now I'm seen by more people? Are they really going to like me? And at the core of that, I actually have a fear of rejection. So I go to bed late because I know if I go to bed late the next day, I'm going to be mad tired. So I'm not going to be able to put in the work, right? And that's going to stop me from actually achieving the goal.
Right.
And it isn't because I'm lazy, it isn't because I've got a lack of discipline, it's because I fear rejection. Do you see how these small things that we do, a lot of the time we identify it as, oh, it's just, I'm just doing it. But in actual fact, there's a deep connection between a fear, something that you're running from. Right? So the first step is being honest. The first step is being honest. The second step is having a coaching call with me. Okay.
You heard that? Have a coaching call with Ryan.
Yeah, no, I would say it's centered about honesty. You have to be honest with yourself. And then you have to, I would say that you have to unlearn everything that you think you know about yourself. We naturally have this this thing in our heads that tell us that we're really good people and really amazing. And that's good. You need to accept yourself, love yourself. I get it. I'm with it. But at the same time, you really need to be open to looking at yourself from a different angle. The angle that says, wait, hold on. That isn't good what you're doing. And the reason as to why you do it is this. And that might not be an easy pill to swallow. So I say, in terms of like the second step, third step, I think they fall into place. The first step is being honest. Once you get honest about who you are, what you do, why you do it, then the next step naturally for you would be to say, okay, cool. Well, this is how I can now change that. But as long as you're in denial, you ain't going to change anything.
And the honest truth is, we're not going to get it right the first time, right? Like, we're going to fall and we have to pick ourselves back up. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, the way I put it is with my clients, I say to them, you've got to start looking at life as a process of gaining skills, whether positive or negative.
Right.
You know, if you look at learning to walk, learning to ride a bike, you're going to fall on the journey. You're going to scrape your knees. It's going to hurt. You will cry, right? So, yeah, that is part of your journey. Now, if you stop at the point where you hurt yourself, you will never, ever be able to walk and then do backflips and do all of these amazing things that we can do as adults and whatever, right? So in the process of you gaining your skills, yeah, it's gonna hurt. The process is the part that needs to be embraced the most. And referring back to the gym analogy, you enter the gym as being the person that you don't want to be, with a view of being the person that you do want to be. And then you go through this whole process of torture and destroying your muscle so it builds back stronger. Now, if you stop at the point, yeah, where it hurts and it's uncomfortable and you're tired and all of these excuses that you can give yourself, do you ever get to be the person that you want to be? No, you can't, right? And I used to class the whole process of working out as, I used to say, like, I don't like the gym, it hurts. Right? That's what I used to do. But actually, the process is the most important part. The turning up and the process is the most important part. The part where it hurts, the part where it's uncomfortable, the part where it doesn't feel nice is the most important part. But this is the part where most people say, oh, I don't want to do it. Yeah, well, that's the reason as to why you never achieve your goals. Because when it hurts, you run away. So the process of self-love and the process of, changing yourself and transforming into the person that you want to be. Oh, yeah, it's going to hurt, man. It's not nice. It's not a nice process. But you have to go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ryan. Again, to really learn self-love, one of the steps is booking a coaching call with Ryan.
It is.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Ryan, how does your level of self-love determine who and what you would?
Repeat that for me because it went a bit funny. I think we lost connection.
Sorry, somebody was calling, so I had to stop it. So what I was asking.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes. What I was asking is, how does your level of self-love determine who and what you attract.
How does your level of self-love determine who and what you attract? So love, essentially, self-love and all of that stuff is it's a frequency, essentially. You know, the way I put it to my clients is, look, the as your self-love increases, the amount of bullshit that you entertain decreases. Yeah.
Yes.
So you love yourself. There's a certain level. Self-love in itself is a level that you entertain people at. If I love me and I believe that I'm the most important person on earth, I can't entertain a relationship that doesn't agree, that doesn't have the same energy, right? So when you're looking at like the law of attraction and things like that, the way they describe it is you put out a frequency, and on that frequency is what you attract. So if you're trying to tune into a radio station, right, that you will tune into it depending on the frequency that you're emitting. Yeah, makes sense. So as an example, if you love yourself, you're putting out that frequency. That frequency is what other people will tune into.
Right.
Yeah. So if someone is coming to you with rubbish, yeah, but your frequency is I only take luxury. You can't bring that around me, right? They can't tune into your frequency. They don't have the means to do it. Right? It's not that they won't try. They will try, but they won't have the means to actually get on that frequency. And you, on the level of frequency that you're on, you will say to yourself, no, I can't entertain that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you know, if you're going on this journey of self-love, you build the strength to say, I can't entertain that. If you're not on that level, people will come to you with anything and you will receive it because you haven't built that strength to say, no, I'm worth more. I'm worth more, right? So as an example, if you're, again, loads of this is off the top of my head. I'm trying to formulate it as I say it, right?
And you're doing a great job. So.
I'm trying.
Take your time.
So if you see it as, all right, yeah, there we go. Cool, got it. So if you compare a Honda to a Lamborghini, right? You're the Lamborghini, the more valuable one. That's self-love. You deserve the best of everything. This is your viewpoint of yourself, right? Now, if somebody only has the budget for a Ford Focus, a Honda, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And then they come around you, who's a Lamborghini or Ferrari, they're going to try and bring you down. They're going to try and hustle it. They're going to say, you're way too expensive. Your standards are way too high. You're blah, 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 blah. You know, this is mad. Like, no one's going to buy that. Like, oh my God, like, it's too much. Well, it's not actually too much. My standards aren't actually too high. It's just that you can't afford it. Yeah? Because if you show that Lamborghini or Ferrari to somebody that can afford it, let me tell you what they do. They will come into the showroom. They will see the base model, which is £250,000. Well, maybe for you, it'll be $350,000, right? And what they will say is, you know what, it's nice, but I need a wider body kit. I need this option and that option. I need the GPS in there. I need the blah, blah. They will make it more expensive. Why? Because at that point, they can afford it. The self-love is having higher standards for yourself. It's saying, I am the Lamborghini. And not everyone's going to be able to afford me. Yeah? The right people can. And I won't be too much. I won't have my standards aren't too high. No. Because we're on the same level. We're on the same frequency. Right?
Right.
But it's really that simple. So that's what, when you're looking at self-love, that is how you will attract and entertain different types of people. So this is the thing now. If you are a Lamborghini or you're a Ferrari, but you don't know your worth. You don't know your worth. Yeah? So you're that car. That's you. You are that. High-end, luxury, sexy. That's you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think will happen if you don't know your worth? What do you think will happen when the Honda Civic buyer comes into the showroom to get the Lamborghini and the Lamborghini owner don't know its worth? They're going to run away with a bargain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Lamborghini don't know its worth.
Mm.
So someone who ain't ready for the Lamborghini, really ain't got the facilities to accommodate a Lamborghini, ain't got no experience with anything on that level, will run away with a bargain. And you're going to lose your value, yeah? Because you don't know your worth. And that person ain't never been in a Lamborghini. You see, most Lamborghinis, right? Most Lamborghini drivers, they've got other luxury cars. So they know how to treat a Lamborghini. You got to keep a Lamborghini on charge. You got to do certain things different. You got to do that. So the Honda Civic buyer, when they buy this Lamborghini now, yeah, they don't know how to care for it. They ain't got no experience with it. So this is it. When you have a certain self-love and you know your worth, you're not entertaining no Honda Civic buyer. Now, in real life, the Honda Civic buyer is somebody that maybe needs to heal from their traumas. The Honda Civic buyer is the person that doesn't know how to respect somebody. The Honda Civic buyer is someone that speaks in anger as opposed to conversations, right? The Honda Civic buyer is somebody that may result to violence as opposed to let's just have a meaningful conversation. Do you get what I'm saying? So the self-love that you have, that will dictate how you entertain different people, so on and so forth.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a Lamborghini. I'm just kidding. But we need to believe
you're
that.
You're a Lamborghini, you're a Ferrari, you're a Porsche, you're whatever you call yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, that is deep. Like that is deep. I love that. But Ryan, so one thing that I've noticed is most people will often confuse self-love with self-worth and self-care. Can you please explain the difference between these three words or how they correlate with each other?
Yeah, they all live in the same house. Self-love, self-worth, self-care. They all kind of feed into each other. You know, your self-love equals your self-worth equals how you care for yourself, right? So if you love yourself, there will be a certain amount of worth that you believe you have. And based on that worth, you then will care for yourself in a certain way, right? So reverting back to the Lamborghini, you believe that you're a Lamborghini, amazing. You believe you're a Bentley or Porsche or whatever I see people typing in the comments, that's what you believe, right? So you're at that level, this is what you're saying. Now with that type of position that you're putting yourself at, there's a certain price that comes with that. That's how you show up in the world. That's what you say that you're worth, right? Cool. Now with those types of cars, that type of price, there's a certain way that you have to care for them. You can't just treat that car like it's in any, a ride around. So the self-love equals the self-worth equals the self-care. So they are very similar, but they feed into each other. They all hold hands and sing in harmony, essentially. Your self-love will dictate your worth, the worth that you believe you have. And the worth that you believe you have will dictate the way you care for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, yeah. Thank you. And you might have touched on this a little bit, but this is the last question that I do have for you. How would having more self-love change your behavior, and how would it change the way you allow others to treat you and your boundaries?
And your boundaries, did you say?
Yes.
Okay, repeat it for me again so I could think while you're speaking.
How would having more self-love change your behavior? And how would it change the way you allow others to treat you and your boundaries?
So how does self-love change your behavior? Yeah, so I think we have kind of touched on it, but I'll speak again to kind of to round it up, right? Yeah. Self-love, your behavior will mirror the level of self-love that you have. Yeah? So if I don't love myself, I'm more liable to go and take drugs. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. If I don't love myself, I'm more liable to not have a healthy daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't love myself, I will entertain relationships that I shouldn't. If I don't love myself, I'll put myself in dangerous situations. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So as I change that now and I say, well, no, I do love myself and I'm worthy of more, then naturally, my behavior will change. My routines will change because they have to now mirror the level of self-love that I have. So it will change my behavior, right? Because I can no longer be doing the same things that got me a certain result while I'm expecting something else, right? So if I know, as an example, if I know that eating a certain diet made me unhealthy, and now I'm saying I want to be healthy, well, I can't eat the same diet. I just can't. It wouldn't work, right? So actually what needs to happen is, if you're saying you want to change something, you're saying that you're worth more, you're saying that, you know, I love me, right? Then of course your behaviors will naturally have to change. Some people, like when they start meditating and they become woke and all of these things, naturally their body starts to gravitate towards things that are on the same frequency that they're on, right? So when I as an example, my diet used to be absolutely terrible, yeah. When I started meditating, I had gone through my own life, yeah, as I've said before. I had gone through my own life, trials and tribulations. And when I was going through that, my behavior was destructive to me, right? So mum being on life support, custody battle, kids, rah, 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 all of these things. My behavior at the time did not prove that I loved me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would speak to people that I knew was terrible. You know what I mean? That they weren't nice people. I didn't feel good around these people and their energy. I didn't, right? But at the time, that was the level that I was on. So actually, yeah, it was cool. I'd entertain it. As I started to move out of that, and my perspective, my perception, my focus, and all of these things started to change. Well, I had different goggles on now. So when I was looking through those goggles, I was seeing those people in a different way. And those people were no longer conducive to where I was trying to go. You see, this is what it is. As you change, right, you start to have different goals for yourself. Listen, let me put it this way. If I have a goal, right, if I don't have a goal, yeah, if I do not have a goal, what type of company or people do I need to keep around me?
If you do not have a girl, or
yeah, if I don't have a goal,
probably single men that are just
doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really
You know what I'm
matter.
saying? Like, just doesn't really matter. You know, it doesn't matter whether they make me feel good. Doesn't matter whether they speak life into my dreams. I don't have any. If I don't care about my idea of self-love, well, what type of behavior do I need to really care about? Nothing. I don't need to care. But as soon as I start identifying where I want to go, what I want to do, who I want to be around, then automatically you place these goggles on. You start looking at things with a magnifying glass, and you say to yourself, "Well, hold on. These people who I spend so much time around, who speak about nothing more than random shit. Do I still need to be around them? No, it's because they're not going where I'm going. Right? The relationship I'm in, yeah, where I'm always arguing, always fighting, always angry. Do I need to be in that? When I'm trying to go to this place that's absolutely amazing and luxury and rah, rah. No, I don't need to be in that relationship. But I only know that I don't need to be in that relationship when I've elevated my mind to say, now I have goals. Right. Now I know where I'm going to be, and I'm going to get there by any means necessary. Right? And where does that come from? Again, it comes back from being honest. It comes back from looking at yourself and saying, well, do you know what? I'll be real with you. I use myself as an example. There's times where I've looked in the mirror and I've hated what I've seen in there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like you. Do you know what I mean? That for me was where I started to change. When I looked in the mirror and I told myself, you know what? Nah, that ain't it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not it. What you're doing right now, the people you might be around, the type of relationships you're entertaining. That's not it. It ain't working. It's not working, right? So that honesty and kind of being hard on yourself and saying, "Do you know what? There's more for you."
Yes.
The way I put it to my clients is, a lot of the time I'll say to them, "Look, take yourself out of the picture. Yeah, if you had, let's say, you got a son or daughter or someone that you love unconditionally, what would you be saying to them in regards to their goals? What would you be saying to them? You'd be telling them, yo, listen, get out of the bed, drop those friends,
yes,
drop that crappy relationship, and stop being lazy. You know what I mean? Go and do what you said. That's how you will talk to them. You don't talk to yourself like that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You don't talk to yourself like that. You be doing things that are like, and this is why I say you got to be very, very careful when it comes to the self-love as opposed to the self-lifing. So most of us are not happy with where we are, right? And then we'll be like, do you know what? I need to love myself, so I'm gonna go and buy myself some. Why are you rewarding yourself? You ain't done no work. You ain't done the work. You ain't done the work. But you're calling it self-love. That's not self-love. You know what I'm saying? It's self-lies. You ain't looking after yourself like that. Oh no, it ain't. Like, you have not done the work to be rewarding yourself. That isn't self-love. And those of us get we misunderstand the two. That's not self-love, right? So it's being honest. It's saying to yourself, this is the truth of the matter, and this is what I need to do. This is where I need to go. And then when you're honest with yourself on that level, that's when things start changing. Because what happens is, and all of my clients will be able to tell you this, is that after a period of time, there's an inner voice, right? There's an inner voice that will start to get louder and louder. And initially it manifests as a guilty conscience. The thing that is there saying, well, you said you was going to go to bed early, why didn't you? Or you said you was going to start the business, why didn't you? You said you said that it was 2021. You said that you were going to, you said you were going to put yourself around better people. You said you were going to network. You said you were going to, this is what you said. That's that guilty voice. The more you push it and the more you elevate, that guilty voice turns from being a guilty conscience to being the thing that pushes change. It goes from being a guilty conscience to being a voice of authority that says, yeah, you did say that you were going to start that business, so go and do it now. Right? So referring back to fitness, and the reason as to why I like the fitness analogy is because it gives you a physical representation, right? When you work out, and if you don't work out, then you should, right? When you work out, there's two voices. There's the one that says, do you know what, let's leave the gym and let's go and get a chocolate bar because that's easier. And there's the one that says, no, do another rep. Right?
Yes.
There are two voices. So change is where you start listening to the one that says, do another rep. And those two voices are there regardless of the activity that you're doing.
Yes.
When you stay on the couch, when you don't do that business, when you entertain the relationship that's beneath you, when you do all of these things, those voices are always going to be there. And you need to learn and train yourself to listen to the one that's advising you to do the thing that you said you were going to do. But let me also put this out there as well for those who you need to understand exactly how deep this goes. Yeah. And I've said it in some of my videos. Your brain's purpose is not to keep you happy. This is what most people misunderstand. Is to keep you safe. That's what your brain's purpose is to do. Now, if you do something over and over again, whether good or bad, that equals safety to you because it's familiar. Yeah? So once your brain takes something as safe, as soon as you say, as an example, if you always sit on the sofa instead of working out, your brain has identified that routine as being safe.
Right.
Now, as soon as you say, listen, I'm going to go to the gym, your brain says, Did you just say you're about to jump out of an aeroplane? Nah, we ain't doing that. Because that's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's outside of your comfort zone. So your brain will literally fight you to keep you on that sofa. It will fight to keep you there because it's trying to keep you safe. That's what your brain is trying to do. And safe is knowing. Unsafe is not knowing. So your brain will fight to keep you safe on the sofa. And it runs in loads of different things. Your brain will try to keep you safe in a toxic relationship because that's what you're used to. As soon as you say, listen, I want to leave, there ain't nobody on earth that says, I can't wait to establish some really negative behaviors. No one says that, right? No one says that, but it happens. And the reason as to why it happens is because your brain is trying to keep you safe. That's it. The brain identifies familiarity as safety. That's why it's so hard to change certain things. So we have to understand the mechanisms of the brain. We have to understand why that is. You know, there's loads of people who are in negative relationships, right? And I don't even mean just intimately. Negative relationships with people at work, negative relationships with themselves, negative relationships with the bad habits that they have, negative relationships that, you know, with their parents, with their families, negative relationships with, you know, things that you just don't want to say goodbye to, right? So once you're in that negative relationship, why is it so hard to change? It has to be more than, you're just lazy. You don't want to do the work. Because when you speak to somebody who's in a bad relationship, yeah, do you ever hear them saying, I love this bad relationship?
No.
They don't never say, I love it.
No.
You know, they know it's wrong.
Yeah.
They know it's wrong. The drug addict knows that taking drugs is wrong.
Wrong. Yes, they do.
The person who wants to go to the gym but stays on the couch doing nothing knows that it's wrong.
Yes.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows. So why don't they change that? It's because the brain, right, is fighting to keep you safe. The only problem is that it's identified your negative behavior as safe because you've done it for too long.
So many times.
You've done it for too long. It becomes your house. And the way that the way that I put that in one of my videos is you found comfort in a burning home. So as much as you know that it's hot in this house, yeah, the fire's mad, yeah, but that's your house. That's what you're used to. So it don't matter if somebody shows you the mansion across the street with a swimming pool, tennis court, and all of these things. Don't matter. As much as you know consciously it's a really nice house, you are going to stay in the burning home because that's where your bed is made. That's what you're used to. As much as you know that it's going to burn down, you're going to die. You don't care, your brain. And to show people where the change needs to take place is if I was to say to everyone right now, and this is an exercise that I do with all my clients, if I was to tell people, look, try to stop your heart beating with the power of your brain. You know, and I'll give you half an hour to do it, right? You and I both know they'd never be able to do it. But if I was to ask you who's in control of you, you would say that you were. Okay, well, stop your heart beating. If you're in control, if you are in control, you stop your heart beating right now. In fact, increase your heartbeat. You try to do that right now with the power of your brain because you're in control of you. But you can't. So you ain't in control. But there's something else that's a lot stronger than your conscious mind, and that's your subconscious mind. And that's really good for the times where you try to stop your heart beating when I ask you. Because something in you says, no, I'm not going to allow you to do that. Because we need to keep you alive. Mm-hmm. That's your subconscious mind. That's the thing that monitors how much you sweat when you sleep, so it cools you down so you don't overheat. It's the thing that monitors how much distance you take in the stride of your step. It's the thing that monitors your heartbeat, your lungs, all of these things. It's the thing that monitors turning oxygen into what you need for your body and all of these things. Your subconscious mind, really complex thing. Now, the thing where that becomes dangerous is the subconscious mind holds your emotions, your routines, your habits, so on and so forth. So as much as on a conscious level, you might say, listen, I want to do this. Your subconscious mind says, well, we're in control and we need to keep you alive. And what you've done so far that is safe for you is to stay on the couch, not work out. So we're not going to release the chemicals that you need to even feel motivated. We're not going to release the chemicals that you need to even feel like you want to get up and do something else. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's very, very deep, and it isn't just a case of saying, yeah, I'm going to love myself. Okay. Your brain ain't used to no self-love. Yeah, go and do it. You will do it for a week. After that week, you ain't going to do it because your brain will find a way to pull you back. Right? So it's not impossible, but people need to understand the journey and how hard that is, right? This is why I'm saying self-love isn't an easy, pretty journey. It's a journey that you embark upon, you sign up for, knowing that there's going to be a war between you and you. And the real you has to win. And the real you is the one that says you can do the other rep. The fake you, the lie, is the one that says, let's just go sit on the couch and have a Snickers bar or whatever, you know, snack of your choice is.
Wow. There's gonna be a war between you and you. I feel like I'm fighting that war every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if other people can feel that too. Like it's truly a war trying to be the best person that you can.
Of course, yeah. Well, the silver lining in all of this is that as much as you've got used to the negative being the safety, once you go through that war, you establish a new truth, which means that the positive traits and routines and habits that you establish after that war, that now becomes the safety net for you. So you see, as hard as it was to change it from negative to positive, it now becomes so hard to change it from positive to negative.
Yeah.
You just have to go through that war.
You have to.
You have to go through that war. And again, that's where My Free Mind comes in and helps you with the coaching, and then we make sure make sure that you get through that. But,
you get through that, yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Absolutely. And during that journey, some people might look at you as, when you're changing, you might come off as egotistical.
Yeah.
You know, she thinks she's better than us and all of this. So
Yeah.
what do you have to say about that? Just
don't care about them.
don't care. Absolutely.
Well, you can't afford to. You can't afford to. I'm at a point in my life where, let me be real with you, yeah?
Yeah.
If you're not on my frequency, we don't talk. We don't talk. We have nothing to talk about. There's nothing that we need to, what do we need to speak about? You're not on my frequency. We don't speak the same language. You know what I mean? Like, we don't speak the same language. I'm trying to go here and you want me to stay down here. We have nothing in common. We have nothing in common. But also remember, when you start to elevate yourself, people will not like that, right? Because what you're doing is you're reminding them of the work that they need to do in themselves. They don't want to do the work because they are also in the same position as everyone else, where they're trying to keep themselves safe in negativity. So you, who's elevating, you remind them, they start feeling unsafe. They start feeling unsafe because you're now a representation of positivity. Well, they're stuck in a negative place. That's their home. So they're going to try and make you destroy the house of positivity that you're building, because your house is going to look better than theirs. So they don't want to see your mansion now that you bought when they're stuck in their burning building, talking about, come over here. No. I've got other things to do. You know, I've got other plans. I'm no longer on that level, you know. So people are going to talk. That's okay. They're allowed to. And, I see a post the other day and it said something along the lines of, someone can only try to pull you down if they're beneath you. And that says it all. You're on a certain level, you're up there. People can only pull you down if they're beneath you.
That's when
So do you really need to care about their opinion? They're not even on your level. This is the thing that, let's say like as a business, there would never ever be a billionaire who will be trying to pull down someone who only makes 100,000 a year. Billionaire ain't going to try to do that. However, somebody that only makes 20 grand a year may try to pull down somebody that's got 100 grand a year business because they're beneath. They're on a different level. They don't want you to be up there. So they're going to talk. They're going to talk. And that's okay. They can talk. They have mouths. They're allowed to. But the same reason as to why they talk so much negativity, you got to realize they're speaking so much negativity to you. Imagine what they say to themselves. That's why they're at that level. That's why they're there. They speak that same language that they're speaking to you, that negative, I'm trying to pull you down. It's coming from in here. The words that we speak come from in here. So imagine how poisonous and toxic their insides must be to manifest them words to put out into the universe. Yeah? So you see me, people can talk, they can say what they want. But you see my vibe, there ain't nothing you can say that can get to me. I don't even know these people like that. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to have this thing where it's like, I'm not going to lie to you. And it sounds a bit pompous. It sounds a bit, you know, you have to have this thing where I don't care what you say. I'm at a point of my growth where I can trust me enough. I trust me enough to where if I say I want to do this or I want to be that person, I know it comes from a really good place. I don't need to care about what someone else says. Your opinion is cool, that's fine. But your opinion ain't fact. It's opinion. An opinion doesn't need to have any fact towards it. So essentially what we're saying is, somebody can say, in my opinion, I can fly. That's cool. Jump out the window. Let's see if it's true. It ain't. Because it's your opinion. Yeah? So I know fact. And the only person that can know fact about you is you, innit? When you're on that level of growth.
Right.
When you've healed, when you've done all, it's the only person that knows your truth is you. Right? So, for, you know, when you're elevating and you're moving, yeah, people are going to talk, but, you know, that's their opinion. They can hold that, you know, but it don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean nothing. You still go and do what you need to do.
Thank you so much, Ryan. This was beautiful. This was beautiful. So, Ryan, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take all the questions. I hope you were paying attention to whoever was engaging the most, because they do get to win a gift at the end of this.
I might have to look through those comments then. I might have to look through those comments because I don't know.
Yes. But we can go ahead and start with the questions. We're going to go ahead and the questions. Someone said, how do I get over the mood that made me feel selfish when I choose myself first?
You have to keep choosing yourself first. You have to keep choosing yourself first, right? So you got to understand what's happening. Yeah. The reason as to why you feel bad or you feel selfish when you're putting yourself first is because the brain's trying to tell you, don't do that because we need to be safe. Right? So you got to think that what would be the outcome of you feeling selfish when putting yourself first? The outcome is that you don't put yourself first, right? So in essence, you don't get the self-love that you deserve. So what's your brain trying to do? It's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you where you've been. So that's what it is. So again, go to war with yourself, meaning that you're going to have to override what the brain is trying to do. It takes 30 days to establish a new habit. 90 days for a new lifestyle. Go to war with yourself for 30 days and then come back and you won't be asking the same question. Promise you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ryan. We're going to take the next question. This away. Let's see. We'll talk about stuff. Okay. I need more clarity on self-love and self-indulgence.
Self-love should come from a pure place. Self-indulgence can be more fueled by addiction. Let me break that down. So bear in mind, addiction. I've got a program coming about childhood trauma, childhood experiences, so on and so forth. But you have to understand that addiction is the indulgence. And I think the guy that you had on live, he was speaking about this, right? The self-love is coming from that place of, like I said, it's that place of being honest. It's that place of being pure with yourself and really getting to that place of, all right, cool, look, it isn't just the things I'm going to do that's going to make me feel nice. I'm doing this because I truly believe I deserve better. Now, in deserving better, you're going to have to do the things that aren't, you know, pretty and aren't comfortable, as well as making yourself feel good. Self-indulgence is what I would say is kind of like that thing, the self-lie. So you're indulging, and you might overindulge in certain things as a distraction, right? So as an example, what making yourself feel good? Well, if you go and you eat 10 cupcakes to make yourself feel good, that is not self-love, but it will make you feel good. What you've done is you've overindulged. That's what you've done. And then the bigger question would be, well, why have you done that? And what void are you trying to fill with self-indulging to that level, right? So I would say one is fueled by you being pure and you wanting the best for yourself. The other one is fueled by distraction and not actually wanting to look at the core problem that you're running away from and trying to override. Just like addiction, and this is what people don't understand, is that addiction, whatever drug it is, whatever substance, and it doesn't need to be a drug, it could be terrible relationships, you can be addicted to those too. A load of those come from your childhood experiences, where as a result of not receiving a certain type of love or whatever it is, there's a void that's created. And to fill that void, you look in places to put it in and fill that space. And that might manifest in overworking, might manifest in procrastination, might manifest in drug addiction, might manifest in loads of different things that you don't think have anything to do with your childhood experiences. When in actual fact, it really does. So that's what I would say fuels self-indulgence.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. If you guys do have any questions, please do feel free to talk about it. Please feel free to ask it in the question box below. Someone said, talk about self-esteem and self-love, please.
I think we've touched on that. Self-esteem, again, I think is just kind of like, well, let's talk about where that really comes from so people can kind of understand where self-love, where self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem, and all of these things really come from and what it's seated in. And I explained this on the childhood trauma program that I've got coming out. So, you know, pay attention to that for when it's there. As kids, we are naturally narcissistic, which is really good at that age. We're naturally narcissistic, as in we believe that the world revolves around us, as we should, because at that age, it does. Right? People cater to us, they run around us, we cry, they come running, we do all of these things naturally. And if you've ever been around any young kids, you will see that they will call you to get your attention so they can show you a dance move. That's absolutely rubbish, but they believe that they deserve your attention. So this is narcissistic tendency that we have, where we believe that the world revolves around us, right? Now, this is really good because that's where your self-love comes from, based on how people interact with you. Your parents running around, oh my God, like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Yeah. So now you reinforce a message that these people around me love me. I am worth, I'm worth their attention, right? So actually that narcissistic tendency at a young age is very necessary for your self-love, for your self-image, for your self-worth. And you get that based on how those people are interacting and reaffirming a certain idea of who you are to you, right? So loads of people will be 35 and they'll be like, I have low self-esteem. Okay. Well, what's the reason as to why that is? You don't just wake up with low self-esteem. It's a learned skill, negative skill, but it's a learned skill. You got to remember, when you're born, the only thing that you're born with is the fear of being dropped, the fear of loud noises, and knowing how to cry to get attention and food. Everything else is a learned behavior, right? So if you have low self-esteem, it's a learned behavior. It isn't something you were born with. So it's something that's been picked up and reinforced somewhere along the line of the journey of your life. So when you're saying that self-esteem and self-love, you have to understand where that comes from. So if you have a problem with it, I'd say 99% of the time, it's to do with the childhood experiences.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. Oh gosh, this is one more question. What is the line between self-love and selfishness?
Well, I think if you're taking a typical definition of selfishness, it's a negative word. There's a negative connotation to being selfish. I think if you're a selfish person, that is where we go wrong, where it just defines your character, as in you're just selfish, right? As in you put yourself before people because you don't care about them. Do you know what I'm saying? That in itself is the difference there. With self-love, you being selfish to put yourself first really is, if we go back to the example, it's me saying, look, I have a healing nature, right? I'm naturally a healing person. I'm naturally a teacher. I was a life coach before I was a life coach. I've always been this way, right? So naturally, if someone has a problem, I go into fix mode. Well, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that, blah, 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 blah. If someone's crying, I become the soggy pillow, essentially, right? Taking in all of their tears, right? And comforting. This is who I am naturally. Now, in doing that, you're going to lose part of yourself because you're investing so much in making everyone else be okay. You're investing so much of yourself, you might lose part of you. Yeah. So at some point now, you have to say, I've got to take back that. I've got to take it back. And that is the selfish aspect that we're talking about. That is in conjunction with self-love. When you take it back now, you recharge, you rejuvenate. And actually that enables you to serve people more. It enables you to be your best self. It enables you to actually stand up as an example and help more people. Right? So selfishness by itself is terrible. But selfishness used as a tool to get you to a place of self-love is actually a necessary tool. Just like anger. Being an angry person is terrible. However, if you're being bullied, you need to be able to get angry.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll just get bullied for the rest of your life. Right? So these emotions and these things are tools that you use at specific times, not at just for the duration of your life. You have to be able to be angry. You have to, even if you look at something like, eating, right? You eat, you have to do it at certain times to stay alive. If you eat all the time, it's actually terrible. So everything in moderation. Selfishness, again, is something that needs to be used for something good, as opposed to for something bad. So when you're being selfish for that's just who you are, that would need to change. But if you're using being selfish to get you to a certain place where you become a better person and can love others from a better place, then yeah, that's the difference.
Thank you so much. I think this is the last thing that I want to ask personally, with self-love and relationship. Before we get into a relationship, what would you recommend in terms of like self-love? Like, yeah.
Before you get into a relationship, so I guess you're speaking about an intimate relationship, right?
Yes, intimate relationship.
Before you get into an intimate relationship, what should you do in regards to self-love? Well, hurt people, right? So if you've been hurt at some point in your life, the chances are it probably dictates your behavior now, and you don't even know it. If you don't even know your love language, you don't even know your attachment style, you don't even know what your personality is, why are you going into a relationship now to try and understand someone else's? You don't even know yours. Who are you? What do you like and dislike, and why do you like and dislike those things? You need to understand that before you get into a relationship and try to cater to what someone else likes and dislikes. You don't even cater to your own likes and dislikes because you don't even know them. So if when you're hurt and you haven't, and when I say hurt, what I mean is like, as a kid, if you go through certain things, and it doesn't need to be bad, it doesn't need to be sexual abuse, doesn't necessarily need to be physical abuse, it doesn't have to be as deeply complex as those things. As you go through life, you're going to get hurt, psychologically. Things are going to hurt you. You might get disappointed, right? As an example, I had a client, and she loved her dad. I spoke about this on my my story. She loved her dad, really amazing man, stand-up guy, but was really busy. So every time he said he was going to pick her up, he just didn't, or he was always late. But she loved him, and he loved her. He would always make up for it. He'd always buy her presents. He'd always, you know, babe, I'm sorry, I love you, my favorite kid, you know. But what she learned from that was that men lie. So when she got into a relationship, and this is on a subconscious level, and this is when she was young, this is way before she was even looking for love. When she got into a relationship now, she had a very trustworthy man, but on a subconscious level, she always accused him of lying. Not because he was a liar, but because her understanding of love is that where you love someone, they also lie to you. She learned that from when she was a kid. It's got nothing to do with the guy she's with now. So when I say if you've been hurt and you need to heal from that before you get into a relationship, you need to understand all the things, or most of the things, that are dictating your behavior.
Right.
Why do you have trust issues? Why do you believe that that where love exists is a feeling of having to chase love? Why do you believe that love is conditional? Is it because every time you did something wrong, your parents put you on the naughty step and said, you need to now come and apologize to me, otherwise I can't give you hugs and kisses? Is that when you learned that love was conditional? Right?
Yeah.
Loads of us may learn these things from kids. And this is the reason as to why that program is very important, right? Because you need to understand the correlation between what you learn as a kid and what you learn as an adult. So when you get into these relationships now, if you're going into a relationship from a place of believing, I can't trust men, and it's got nothing to do with men outside of your dad. Do you know what I mean? Your most, your first interaction with the opposite sex usually is your opposite sex parent. So for a male, it will be his mum. For a woman, for a girl, it would be her father. Now, as an example, let's just pretend that the father has deserted her, deserted the family, he's not there, right? Well, what she's learned is that she's not worthy of love. He's not actively told her that,
Right.
but subconsciously she knows. That's what she will believe. She's not worthy of love. So as she gets older, if that's a subconscious belief about love, what type of men do you think she'll go for?
A man just like her dad.
Emotionally unavailable, abusive, because they will reinforce, even though they may not be the same as her dad, they will reinforce her understanding of what love is. So you need to really uncover those things and heal from that. Because even if she got a really, really good man, you have to understand that the good man won't do it for her. She won't like that guy. She's not used to a good man. He speaks a completely different love language to her. She doesn't understand it. Consciously, she does. Consciously, no one says, I don't want a good relationship. But subconsciously, she isn't used to a man like that. So you have to heal, and it goes through the same with men. It's not just women. I have a video on my page talking about men with mummy issues. If they have a terrible relationship with their mums, and when I say terrible, it doesn't need to be that terrible, but if it's dysfunctional in some way, right? Is it then far-fetched that as a result, because look, he would love his mother naturally, right? If the relationship is strained, then we could argue that he might learn that where love exists for this woman is the feeling of me having to chase it, right? And she's not giving me that love. Okay, cool. If I have to chase it, and I know that doesn't feel good, I want to be loved freely and unconditionally, right? So as I get older now, could we not argue that maybe I'd run away from ever feeling real love? Because the last time I did for my mother when I was a kid, it hurt me so deeply that I never want to feel that vulnerability again. So instead now, as a man, all I do is I see that girl, that girl, that girl, that girl, that girl, and I never create meaningful relationships with any of them. Because if I did, maybe I'd feel that same vulnerability that's needed for a relationship. But the last time I felt that, I got hurt. So now I just run away from pain. It isn't the fact that I actually need multiple women. what I'm actually doing is running away from any meaningful connection because I don't want to get hurt. So before he gets into a relationship, you know, there were many people, many men that will get into relationships with good women, really, really good women. They will mess it up. They will mess it up. And it isn't just because he's stupid. He will mess it up because he's unconsciously defending himself from ever feeling like he did when he was a kid. So you need to heal these things before you get into a new relationship. Otherwise, you will always convert good relationships into relationships you can understand. And if you understand from a position of trauma or chaos, you will never find a good relationship. So this is the reason as to why you need to heal before you venture in to the game of intimacy and love.
Oh. Wow. That was wow, that was amazing. That was amazing. I think everybody definitely learned not just one, not just two, not just three, a lot of things from this session today. And I just want to say thank you so much, Ryan. It's always a pleasure having you here. Like, you always have me rethinking my whole life whenever we're talking. Like, I'm like, oh. So guys, if you guys loved Ryan, there is more to him. You guys are just seeing a little bit of the surface. There is more to him than this. You can go ahead and book a coaching call with him. He helps with every aspect of life that you might be having problems with. So go ahead, book a coaching call with him. And I believe you would get good results. And Ryan, thank you so much. You are so amazing. Can everybody thank Ryan in the comments, please? Like, just tell him thank you. Like, tell him how amazing he is. Tell him how amazing.
And you know what? I have to obviously thank you for reaching out to me again and bring me back on the show. I feel that conversations like these are very necessary.
Yes.
Like I say, my where I kind of come from in terms of what I do has come from a place of where my life wasn't actually very nice at a period of time, and I wish that there was someone like me that spoke in the way that I do. There are many people that have the same knowledge and the same interaction with life and, you know, all of these things, but a lot of the time that you can't relate to them because they're not like, you don't resonate with them. Right. You know, so for me, I think it's very important to be able to have platforms like this. It's very necessary where people can have these deeply intellectual and insightful conversations. So, you know, thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you.
And thank you for providing the platform where we can have these conversations. And if anybody wanted to book a coaching call with me, or even wanted to purchase the How to Get Over a Breakup book, which is necessary whether you're in a relationship or not, it gives you quite a lot of information on love, but not just that, but more understanding kind of who you are as a person and who you are going into relationships, trying to essentially make someone else happy. So yeah, that book is there. You can get that in my bio, and for a coaching call, all you need to do is just drop me a DM and we could work that out. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So you guys book a coaching call with Ryan. Okay. Thank you so much. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Just go ahead. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.